powered by Riverside.
Hello, and welcome into TheSadFan, where we talk about the good, the bad, and everything that made us sad from the previous week. And there's not a lot that has us sad. So, gentlemen, we are going to cede the floor and have things sad-splained to us by Chelsea, because there's a lot going on in college football right now that we need to understand going into next year and beyond. So, Chelsea, the floor is yours.
All right. So we have definitely, within this show, covered the possible explosion of the mega conference, right? We're seeing just realignment happening everywhere. But we need to talk about the Pac-12. And that's not just because I'm a Pac-12 homer or anything like that, but this affects all of college football. And it is crazy. We are watching the absolute implosion of the Pac-12 happen in real time via Twitter rumors, via, some far out conspiracy theories, but it is happening and it's real and it sucks so hard because all of this is rooted not in like legacy and tradition and, wanting to, maybe meet some other competitors during this season. No, like the only reason that this conference may collapse is solely due to capitalistic goals of expansion and media rights. Media rights is where we really get into the nuts and bolts of the issue here. So basically, media rights, right? Basically, the Pac-12 back in, I think, 2012, with Larry Scott as the commissioner, basically said, F you, ESPN, F you, Fox, like, we're going to go create our own Pac-12 network. And it's going to be just as awesome as the SEC network. It's going to be just as awesome as the Big Ten network. It's not. You can't find it. I struggle. On the East Coast, even finding bars that will have it being shown as a member of the Alumni Association, we had to pay our Oregon bar for them to pick up the Pac-12 network. And they had to search high and low because it wasn't on DirecTV, which is what they were using as their cable provider. Yeah. Because the Pac-12 network and Larry Scott said, F you, DirecTV, you aren't giving us what we want. So.
You're going to find us on AM radio. You'll see.
Exactly. That's exactly what we're kind of talking about. So nobody wants to subscribe to this. It is absurdly expensive as an add-on if you're on like Comcast or Spectrum or whatever. I don't even know what companies exist anymore. But we're at the end of a contract. And so the Pac-12 network and the Pac-12 athletic directors and presidents and everyone involved in the league commissioner are looking into new media deals. And there's still this insistence on keeping the Pac-12 network as a standalone thing, which means that it makes it harder for ESPN to carry the games. So there's less visibility on a national scale. And when you're a program like Oregon that has the flashy uniforms and it has the money and it has a place on the national stage, and we're often playing Colorado,
Utah. We'll get to that.
Some Utah's had their moments of brilliance, but yeah, it really
but who wants Utah ever? Like, no one's clamoring for Utah. Like, Oregon, sure. UCLA, sure. We're not even good. USC, sure. But no one, I get where you're coming from, where it's now maybe Colorado, though, with Coach Prime.
Well, exactly. So it does change a little bit. But
yeah,
Pac-12 definitely has some, little brothers in the conference. And we can see this as we're looking through, I found a really cool chart that said, basically, what is their audience share in football, in basketball, what is their academic standing, because this is also a big thing within the Pac-12. These schools that are in there have to meet certain research criteria, certain academic stringent requirements to be in there. We aren't just picking up anybody until
that's true, because you got UCLA, Cal, Stanford, USC,
Washington.
all have academic regulations. Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty top tier research facilities, and so it's kind of a shame to kind of like start being a little bit more nebulous on who gets in, right? So there have been rumors of San Diego State University coming in and SMU, and this isn't slander on these schools. They're definitely great on their own, but the big thing that is luring them into the Pac-12 is their market. SMU with the Dallas market and San Diego State University with the SoCal, like San Diego, Los Angeles view, but nobody is really tuning in to watch these games religiously with a fervor. So they're just creating problems for themselves. There have been a lot of rumors flying this week. Originally, like at the end of last week, beginning of this week, everyone was saying like it looks like this might go to Amazon Prime's streaming service, which God help us all. Bezos, like it's not going to help us whatsoever.
But it gives them something else to not pay taxes with. Well, we had to invest so much billions of dollars into getting the Pac-12, which is an expense, so I can't pay taxes again this year, guys.
Right. So with USC and UCLA leaving, it does leave a gigantic hole in the market for audience eyeballs on football games, because let's face it, most of the country really isn't going to be looking at a Washington State Oregon State game. It's hard to pull people in. I mean,
Colorado, Utah. I'm not getting off this Utah thing.
Okay, all right. Well, but to be fair, though, I mean, one of the things that a lot of people keep asking is, why isn't Boise State in this conversation? And the fact of the matter is, Boise has no audience, no market share. Yes, there are a lot of very passionate fans in that area. They put up some great, games against the Pac-12. They also have that weird ass blue field. They've got their own kind of like thing going on in the Midwestern Conference, but it's not going to be a fit for the Pac-12 if we're just looking at media share, which is why this is so sad, because it is only based on one thing, and it is money and eyeballs. So the rumor that has gained the most traction this week, again, things could very much change by the time we actually get the show out. Basically, Apple is being pushed as the most likely candidate for actually absorbing Pac-12 media rights. And this is ass. It's a terrible deal. So Apple Plus already has its own economic issues. Only like 46% or something like that of their subscribers are actually have their settings to auto renew every month. A lot of these subscribers are people who get Apple Plus for free with, one of the myriad of programs that allows you to have like a 3 or 6 month subscription for free. They opted in to renew this. Also, it's very, very likely, just like with Hulu and a lot of these other services, that the Pac-12 network would be in addition to what you're already paying for Apple Plus. And Apple Plus is not offering a whole lot in terms of streaming that's really bringing people in, and adding sports is kind of an interesting segue for them, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, especially since the rumors have been floating for a long time that Apple does want to in fact purchase the ESPN properties from Disney. Fry, you were saying earlier that in their fourth quarter earnings call that they were saying that that's not really on the table.
Iger said that's not happening.
Disney on the Disney side is saying it's not for sale.
Because it pays apparently for all kinds of stuff in regards to their parks.
It really does. ESPN covers a lot of losses for the rest of the company to make them profitable.
It's like a staple food.
Things.
Chelsea's about to get into why it was so much better as a staple food here. I can hear it coming in just a second. So it was very lucrative, but there's a reason why ESPN Plus is getting pushed so heavily.
Right. So when we look at the previous economics of having ESPN was not for sale because their ad revenue, their market share, everything like that was really covering Disney for a lot of their overruns on bigger projects and things like that, especially with their parks, because those are very cost intensive. And so overall, it looked like they had a net positive, right? And they were just getting that money for shareholders. It was great. But in the days of streaming, of cord cutting, of all of that, ad revenue is down. They aren't getting the advertisement money that they used to. They aren't having the audience share like they used to. Even their, premier games, they're still losing. They're also losing a lot of football, college and NFL, to the other networks, Fox, CBS, etc. And as well as the advent of these individual standalone conference channels, which really kind of it whittles down their market size considerably.
Their share of as far as live revenue, live game revenue is going down.
Yeah, most of us aren't crazy with 4 different screens going on in the same room. I can be. But most of us...
depends, right?
Most of us are either flipping back and forth, or we're just watching the one game and sitting through it. So ESPN has really lost... Their share of the college football space has eroded. And a lot of other sports. I'm just going to also tie that in there because it's not just college sports, it's bringing in the money for ESPN. That being said, Iger might not be able to say no to a fairly lucrative offer that would kind of help with some of the short-term cost incursions that Disney might be seeing from other areas that they've gone ahead and invested in. And it is probably, to even the layman, pretty clear that Disney has not actually invested that much money in ESPN other than offering out the ESPN Plus subscription. And the numbers for that are really...
They're not good. They don't have good content. And we can't even watch it in England. Like, I can't get ESPN Plus here. I have to get, Sky TV to get ESPN Plus. So
I can't get,
even the Americans abroad.
Well, I'm an American in America, and I can't even get ESPN Plus.
I am an American in America.
No, but I really can't. I have issues with logging into my ESPN Plus account and getting it to stream through Hulu. It just won't do it. It just tells me.
It was also the most freezy, glitchy app that it made me more angry than any other streaming app I had. It would glitch out, or it would freeze, or it would have a lag where the voices are behind, what might happen on this podcast.
It
was. I would get and UFC would always drop because Dana White he's an idiot. He's a big, bald idiot. And I don't think I'm ever going to work with him or for him, so I'm just going to say it. And he was like, come on, hackers, bring it on. And when he did that, an event I paid for got washed out for the first match. ESPN got hacked, and they couldn't get the server back up to show the fights for the whole first fight that I paid $84 for.
Did I get a
refund?
Nope. He's the meathead.
Yeah. He's the billionaire meathead.
Incredible.
That got away with. Literally, he slaps his wife and punished himself with public guilt. He got away with that. I was like, it's on TV. We saw you do it. You were allowed to punish yourself, and you punished yourself with public shame? What? But anyway, sorry. ESPN Plus was that arm. And also, I just want to touch on that cord cutting, Chelsea. Apparently, when ESPN was one of the most profitable companies as far as entertainment was concerned in the whole world, it was because we still had to subscribe to cable Cox, like Comcast, like Spectrum, and it was included in all these packages. So even though they were only doing 0.2, 0.1, and 0.25 was a really great number for morning shows for ESPN.
Yeah,
lots of people were paying for something they weren't watching, and the advent of a la carte television really eroded all their margins because now people are like, you're just throwing ESPN in, you're charging me more money to have ESPN, and I don't watch it.
Right. So now that consumers are not necessarily forced to have ESPN on their screens, they aren't paying just, if your cable bill was $100 a month, ESPN might get, 75 cents of that. It adds up a lot over every month, every quarter. And so, yes, everything is kind of eroding for them, and they are losing a lot of traction. They're not investing in the property. And so as a subsidiary of Disney Company, I really it might not be spun off this year. It might not be spun off later, but I do still see it being on the table because I think, given some of the cues that Disney has given, they do want to streamline some of their stuff because they were kind of like a mega corporation, just everything all in there, all together, kind of like the old school GE days. And now they are starting to spin off parts of it and getting more comfortable with streamlining down into kind of like a more focused vision for what they want to do going forward.
I think it's still valuable, right? Because live sports is the only appointment viewing we have left. We don't have any other appointment viewing anymore. We don't all tune into something as a nation anymore like we used to.
Not even like the Oscars.
Not the Oscars. The days of Seinfeld and Cheers are gone.
Way gone.
You know? Like, I'll watch it. I'll watch it in 2 months when the whole season's on Netflix or Hulu.
Right.
Like,
Exactly. But it is really hard as someone who very much loves sports. If there's a game I really want to watch, but for whatever reason I have to miss it, it's so hard for me to go back and rewatch a game. I'm like, I already know the outcome.
I already know what happens. I'm the same way. I'm like, well, I don't really see a need to watch this. I could, if I go to one of my favorite writers, I could get a really thorough rundown of the whole game.
Yeah.
What happened?
I'll get a highlight reel. And just call it a day. But so, there's just not a lot of value for replays and things like that, except for, stats nerds and dorks who don't care if they already know the score. But all of this comes back to, where does that leave the Pac-12? And the answer is, we don't know. The very concerning thing to me that sets off like little alarm bells is that there have been some media leaks from university presidents and I haven't heard from Oregon. Let's be clear. I haven't heard from Oregon. There's been nothing on this, but like Washington State's president came out and she was like, oh yeah, everything's going great. We're going to have something figured out. Just you wait. In like 2 weeks, it's going to be just great. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
No. For a contract of this size, this magnitude, and the potential for, I don't know, when you have a group of 10 people or 10 separate individual universities, I don't think you're going to have that harmonious lovey-dovey kumbaya shit happening as you're getting ready to split hundreds of millions of dollars amongst yourselves. And if I was Oregon, I would be looking at the exits really soon. So, I mean, we are very, very, very far removed from the days where we thought as the Pac-12, we were going to bring Texas and Oklahoma into the fold. That's gone. That's not.
Well, that was them being idiots because they wouldn't let Texas come in with because Texas had their own TV contract. And they're like, no, you have to come into our TV. And I was just like, it's just like one of the most viewed teams in the United States. What's wrong with you?
That and USC wanted to be the prestige in the conference. There are also bad issues with USC really coming in, blowing up contracts just like they just did with blowing up the conference and heading for the exits. So we are going to have to look at some very odd, arrays and stuff like that. But everything I've seen in terms of like conference realignment, I've been able to point out, like, you still haven't accounted for, the little brothers of the conference. What about the Arizonas? What are you going to do come basketball season when Arizona is
the Arizonas
every year? The Arizonas,
well, do you see what's happening with North Carolina and Duke? Now that NIL's a thing? North Carolina and Duke, that prestige. Gosh, they're going to be lucky if they're a 9-10 seed, without Coach K, without, Roy, without, under the table payments for players, if you will. Like, what's going to happen to these? Anyway, no, Chelsea, thank you. I appreciate that breakdown. Like, I do, because I love college sports just like you do. But like you said, like, we don't know. Like, we don't know, and we don't know what the financial implications are going to be. We don't know what NIL is going to keep doing to teams. Texas has so much money that they could just start buying players. Like, it's Arch Manning went to Texas not for the Longhorns, okay? That's all I'm going to say. Like, that's not how Arch Manning ended up at Texas. No, I love it. Josh, I feel bad because I know you're no longer a big college sports guy. I know you love Boulder. It's one of your
I'll
favorite
throw the Boulder hat
cities.
whenever I have to. Boulder's awesome. And I like some duck, but
Yeah.
because my dad was a duck guy.
Oh, yeah, you lived in Portland for a while, too.
And I lived in Portland, too. But, yeah, I never
Yeah.
really did a whole lot of college. I just couldn't. I mean, this is the stupidest argument you guys have heard 1,000 times. There's no Super Bowl, so why am I watching this? But anyway.
It's a national championship.
Yeah.
Is there really, though?
We added that in. Ah.
No,
But college ball is cool, and I hope it stays around. You see a lot cooler like play calling and riskier moves. So
Go ahead,
I
Chelsea.
have to add one more thing that I have also heard due to media rights, and that is that there is serious contemplation, at least amongst the Twitter rumors and crap, that incomplete passes are going in the college game are going to result in a running clock to shorten the game.
Yeah.
Whoa.
To fit more games into slots. Yeah. And
there was a lot of
guys,
these stupid rules.
Under the
that
guise
one,
of player safety.
Yeah. There was that
but it's
one.
market share.
There was
It's
that
not
one, and
safe
there was
to
like
do that.
2 more rules. Yeah, because now they're sprinting to the line.
Yeah.
They're not even breathing.
Scramble, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Someone breaks an ankle.
Because they know the clock doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And it was out of bounds. Like if the player goes out of bounds, but prior to 2 minutes or something like that.
Then clock runs.
Yeah, the clock is gonna. There was a couple rules. I was just like, gee, you're gonna destroy the game
That's
over money.
pretty-
Man. You're gonna destroy.
That's a pretty monumental game change. It seems small, but that changes up the strategy a lot.
Yeah. Well, you played in high school, Josh. You're not foreign to this. You played in high school. You played on the line. Could you imagine, like back then, when you had all that muscle, all that weight to push guys around, having to sprint your ass off every 10 without getting able to put your hands on your knees and catch your breath?
My dumb ass, I wouldn't be worried about that. I'd be worried about remembering what the next play was because we didn't have time to huddle. It's like, what, is it 38 trap or is it Husker? What are we doing? Whatever. I'll just hit somebody.
Do I pull? On this one? Well, didn't pull that. Sorry, QB.
Sorry, QB.
What is we call that? The Olay block, right? No, but Josh, last time we had you, and we're sorry that we don't have Wes, everyone, but we've got Josh. You were all about the sumo, and I'm just curious: has there been any movement on the sumo rankings? What's going on there? What are we doing with sumo wrestling?
Well, as you know, I've taken an interest in it and started looking up. Currently, Edward Honda is going up for the title of Yokozuna, and if anyone knows, that means the grand champion of sumo. Yeah, he's getting his own video game soon because people are really liking his swagger these days. He made this new technique actually where he just gets a little bit of extra baby oil on the belly. They're disputing whether or not it's legal. I'm not sure.
Does he do the slap action too?
He does a little
Get himself
slap.
pumped up.
Yep.
Yeah, a little slap.
He does a flying
You never
headbutt.
know. Like,
100 hand slap.
The lead with the belly button. We aim with our belly button.
That does remind me, though. Speaking of Ocho stuff, I just found out about this new sport because I was looking up sports that are a little strange or whatever, and this one's actually very timely. You guys know we had Mardi Gras this week, Tuesday, Fat Tuesday, right? Well, it's called Shrove Tuesday in some parts of England. And there's a little place called Ather Stone, Warwickshire, that every Shrove Tuesday they play the Ather Stone ball game. Have you heard of this? It's kind of gone viral.
Yet. I live here, so I'm very interested.
There's a video. You should try to look it up because it's got 3.4 million views from what happened during the game this year. And I'll just explain it to you, and you'll have a guess. It's
how do you spell it, Josh? Really quick, before you get too deep, how do you spell it?
Ather Stone, Ather.
Okay.
And it's in Warwickshire.
Now go ahead,
Ather
tell us
Stone,
what happened.
Well, the game, it's very simple. They got a ball, looks like an oversized medicine ball kind of thing, like a big volleyball that's heavy.
Okay.
At 3 o'clock, 1500 hours, someone up on the balcony. Oh, let me start back. It takes place on the main street of Atherstone. They board up all the windows to everything. And at 3 o'clock, the mayor or some celebrity throws the ball into the crowd. And at 5 o'clock, whoever has that ball wins.
Oh, no.
So the 2 rules are, there's 2 rules. You have to stay on the main street, and you can't kill anyone. That's it. It's so cool.
It's the Purge. It's the Purge without murder.
Yeah, it happens once a year. It's been going on since 1199 AD. They've had 900 competitions or something like that. So it happened this year. It happened on Shrove Tuesday this week. And if you look up the video, it's not a full video of the entire 2-hour event. But in the scene, you don't even know where the ball is.
2 hours of people beating the hell out of each other?
Yeah, 1,500 to 1,700. Whoever has the ball at the end wins. So, excuse me.
What did they win?
Oh, I don't know. Probably a pig or something. I don't know.
I wasn't as interested in that.
But it's just known that's once a year we all gather in town and beat the hell out of each other. And if you look at the video on YouTube, I'm sure it's easy to find because it's pretty viral now. I don't know where the ball is in the picture. There's just a crowd of humans, like in the Ant-Man trailer where they're all crawling on each other, and you see people throwing feet, swinging off of rafters and landing on people, throwing elbows. People are bloody. No one's wearing a shirt. It's just the beatdown fest. I don't know. I didn't look too hard, but I didn't see any women. Just a lot of muscle backs, like big old men throwing bows. This year, I didn't get the name. What happened?
Josh, do you think that it's an excuse for people that just have like a shop to shop like rivalry to be like,
yeah.
Cheese McFarley.
Yeah. So I was going to say,
go for the ball, they just go at somebody else.
It reminds me. This reminded me. There's a similar sport event that happens in. I think it's one region of Italy. You can only play if you're from there, and it's once a year. And the whole thing is about settling differences. So everyone gathers in the town square, and you call somebody up, like you and me right now, we're fighting. It's a little bit more organized, but not quite. Anyone's allowed to fight anyone. So, like, come on, Grandma, it's time. This is it. I'm done. We're dealing with this. But the whole concept is this is where we settle our disputes, and then we go into the new year and forget about it. So that's kind of nice. But back to Ather Stone.
I thought you were going to talk about the people stacking. The competitions where they have different crews stacking.
Just
Yeah.
This year, 3 English guys won. I think their names were Mr. Englishman, all 3 of them. But they were all 3 holding the ball, and they were actually a team. So like they went in as a squad, and all 3 of them holding it was like a phalanx technique. No one's getting the ball now, right? I don't know. Pretty interesting. And I'm really sad I hadn't heard of this before because I would probably have devoted my life to going there and getting my ribs broken.
Yo, those 3 would have been dusted if Macho Man Randy Savage was there. He would be like, let me tell you how to get through that. Oh, yeah. You drop up your flying elbow off the scaffolding.
Yeah, I was watching the Ocho or ESPN News since they now decide to just show whatever these days. And it was corgi racing. And as someone who owns a corgi, it's pretty damn cute. So I just, there was no flying bows. There was just very confused little sausage dogs. Just
their little butts.
Are they on tracks? Individual tracks or like a greyhound track? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like a greyhound track, but they were just dogs that just turned around. Or just like were looking for their own.
Oh, they weren't necessarily trained. They were just let loose.
Yeah, it was total amateur hour.
That's great.
I think so. It's put on near Seattle. It's hosted by like Elysian Brewing. I actually knew about it back in the day when I lived in Seattle. I just didn't have a corgi then. Now I do, and she's 14. She's a potato right next to me. It's not happening. Dreams can be dreams, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just put her on a little puppy treadmill and she watches it and see what happens.
Dude, she would just like lay down and plop off to the side and let the belt keep hitting her. She She gives no F's anymore.
The treadmill belt for our audience. She is not. Chelsea's not abusing her 14-year-old court. She was referring to the treadmill belt there. Sorry, we were a bit separated from when I said treadmill, so it kind of sounded like you were just like, she just takes that belt.
Well, 4 o'clock. Get over here.
Yeah, so our dog Heidi just turned 14 on Valentine's Day, so it is a very recent birthday, and she's enjoying all of her snoozing and love in the golden years. We're not no belts. She gets just pets.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and not being pushed to the limit.
Yeah, no.
My dog Spartacus, he gets a lot of "come on, you deaf bastard," because he's also 14. Like, hey, pay attention. Come on, deaf old man, let's go. And he's just doing his own thing at 14. He's just staring off into space.
Old dogs are.
I think that's awesome. Yeah, I think that's awesome. Corgi race would be awesome. I don't want to talk about anything sad this episode, so I'm going to nix a couple of things. Shame on you, Utah, for having a child predator as your mascot, but we can move right past that. I think that's all of our opinion on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a predator, and shame on them for doing that.
Yep.
Okay. I do want to talk some female soccer because USA won the She Believes Cup. They're the best team still. Yes, exactly. We've got a new striker that's coming in right at the tail end of Alex Morgan's career. Her name is Mallory Swanson. She has knocked in a goal in like the last 5 or 6 games.
6 games. Yep.
It's wild. Like I was like, I know I've been watching her, so I know it's like 5 or 6. So 6 games in a row now. I thought the star was going to be Trinity Rodman, who is great. She's fantastic. But Mallory Swanson is just crushing it. And not to take away from Alex Morgan, who had a crazy hooking ball into the net. I had to be careful how I phrased that. Hooking ball right into the net this last game against Brazil, which was just, I watched it. The first time I watched it, I was like, oh, that just seems like the goalie was off. But then they get it from another angle, right, where it's like slow motion directly from behind where Alex Morgan strikes the ball. And you see that sucker just go outside the post, and you can see how the goalie could presume that ball's way off, and then it just hooks right back in behind the goalie, and you're like, holy smokes, what a shot.
Witchcraft.
What's that? Is that Sandlot, or is that Sandlot or Little Rascals? Holy smokes.
Both, probably.
I get those two movies confused all the time. I can never keep them straight.
But I did want to give them their due, right? And I think it's a big time for women's soccer. And it was interesting because all the articles, I swear, like, men, you suck so bad. Because I'm so happy right now. And a bunch of dudes write articles. Is this the downfall of Team USA? Everything that was wrong with Team USA as they won. I'm like, they won. Can the ladies have this? Like, and it's a super young team. Why are we thrashing America's literally best champion? And for some reason, we refuse to acknowledge them as America's literal best champion. Go ahead, Chelsea.
Yeah. You told me to look at this like prior to the show, and I totally did. And every article is here. I'll read the Deadspin headline. Mallory Swanson can win the World Cup on her own, and she may have to. U.S. Women's National Team win the She Believes Cup while not providing too many new answers. What?
They're all just trashing the champions. I don't get it.
This is, we in this day and age when we talk about, how women are treated in the media, in sports, in all of this, like, this is what we're talking about. Like, you have to try twice as hard to get half the reward. And it is such garbage. We really, I don't think we've done enough examination at ourselves in terms of this kind of stuff. And it's not just women. It's just that they're the easiest to pick on, and just the other day, actually, so ESPN was, SportsCenter was covering basketball, college basketball. They were going over some highlights of a women's game. They switched over to a men's game, and the announcer says, and now on to the real basketball.
Oh my gosh.
And
He said it so casually.
Women's basketball is so much more exciting in the college game to watch than the men's game. There, I said it. It's better. It's a better watch.
And even if you don't feel that way, you still can't look at women's sports and say that's the lesser, that's the, the not real version of it, because it's still a thing. Like, what the hell?
You can see that.
I am not sensitive. I got incensed when I saw that video, just because it was, like you said, Josh, such a casual, like, okay, now onto the basketball.
Aren't they cute? Moving on, And what was that that poll that went out a few years back or whatever that said, like, I don't know, it was between 20 and 40% of men think they could probably beat Serena Williams at tennis. Like,
and she would kill them all.
She would put it through their throat. Yeah.
Yeah. It just is wild to me. And it all goes back to the Billie Jean King Battle of the Sexes thing. Yeah. And here's the thing. He was a professional tennis player. It wasn't just some guy off the street. Like, he was a joke and a dick and a misogynist, but he was actually ranked in the top 100. Right. He was a male professional that had been doing it his whole life. He wasn't me or Josh off the streets like, I'm going to be... You guys are so stupid. You don't understand the greatness when it's right in front of you. And when Paige Beckers got hurt, I don't even like UConn, but I loved watching Paige Beckers play in last year's tournament and the tournament before. And I was like, she's so fun. She's great. She's the next, in my mind, Diana Taurasi or Sue Bird, right up there with what Sabrina Ionesco has been able to do. And I'm sure as we go on, I'm going to talk a lot about the Las Vegas Aces and the New York Liberty in the WNBA. Chido Gumake went back to Los Angeles Sparks, so I think we're going to have a pretty fun WNBA season. But if you're not watching, so Kelsey Plum, for those of you that I think this is just before Chelsea became a permanent cast member, Kelsey Plum is my favorite women's basketball player, and she plays with Asia Wilson. She's a champion in Las Vegas. This girl, Caitlin Clark, out of Iowa, is such an amazing scorer. She's going to break Kelsey Plum's record, and no one is even acknowledging it. No one's paying attention to it. And I'm like, and I'm like, do you realize how great this young lady is? Like, how amazing she is at basketball. And you refuse to acknowledge it. I mean, it kind of is against her. She plays in Iowa. That's going to be a hard watch. I mean, you're in Iowa. But she's, because Kelsey Plum was UW, right? Like Pac-12, where women's basketball is amazing. I just can't believe it. It blows my mind. And then when it comes to women's soccer, like, we celebrate our men getting in the knockout round. And I'm not going to lie. We were doing shows.
Absolutely.
I love the men's game, but the women are our ultimate champion. And the fact that they win a cup and we just disparage them and beat them down, I'm just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
America loves its champions. What are we doing? They just won a championship. So...
You gotta put them in booty
blew
shorts.
My
That's
mind.
the only way.
Oh my gosh, it's annoying. That's what Sepp Blatter said. Yeah, that is what Sepp Blatter said, and I think that's.
Oh my god!
Oh, I thought you were quoting that. I was gonna make you.
No.
I
was saying something ridiculous that no one should say out loud.
yeah, absolutely. But no, Sepp Blatter
really
actually
was discussed.
He said it. He said, because he was asked, what can we do to improve the viewership on the women's game? And he literally said, I don't know, maybe put them in hot pants, which is European for booty shorts.
Oh, my gosh. That's crazy.
Oh,
Have you heard of
I don't know how we can be... No.
At least for the WNBA, he said just drop the hoop a foot. Now you get the girls, like, dunking just like everybody else. I don't think that's a crazy idea.
It would throw off the arc shoot.
Oh yeah, you have to reload everything.
The great scores that we have from.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't get it. I don't know why we have to fight about everything when it comes to supporting women. Like, I don't know why.
Right.
And I'm a what am I? I'm a simp. If I support women, I'm a simp. Like, that's the go-to for all these super. I'm an alpha. Nah, you're a punk. You're just a punk. Most men, and Josh, I don't know if this is the same for you, most men that have to walk around saying they're an alpha don't believe it. And they're not, They don't believe they are, and they're not.
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest like banner for I'm an insecure asshole who needs to tear down people to make me feel good about myself. Like that's all I see when people are like, "Oh yeah, I'm an alpha." I'm like,
Then why is everyone uncomfortable around you? The alpha is the nurturer. No one feels safe when you're in the room, bud.
No one feels that's
the
great
antithesis of what's going on here.
So I don't want Chelsea to be out of the loop on this, but I did want to take this opportunity to have a quick debate. We've got about 4 minutes left in show. Chelsea, who? I know you didn't watch wrestling. I know that was more Wes's thing. But what storylines do you recall from Wes's days watching wrestling?
Like, what was an event that was happening, or who was on top at the time? Yeah. Do you remember?
A group, a wrestler.
Oh man, I do remember like Randy Savage, but honestly,
the one I said today.
Yeah, well, no, I do actually remember him, and like my dad, I think, was kind of into it. I mean, you're taking me like way back here to things I don't spend much memory space on, but Hulk Hogan and that kind of stuff. But honestly, like whenever it was on, it was just something that I was like, it's fake, it's fake, and they're just acting, and it's not interesting to me. So I would just walk out of the room and like go find a book to read because I was a big nerd. I was like, if you aren't watching the basketball game, I'm out.
What kind of books were you reading?
Goosebumps, Babysitter's Club,
fake.
Fake. I was also reading space encyclopedias cover to cover.
Okay, you pulled that one out of your butt. Space encyclopedia. No, you were not reading.
No, actually,
Pluto's a planet still too, right? Pluto's still a planet.
It wasn't those encyclopedias. No, I actually had this like really slick, like brand new encyclopedias that my aunt gave me, and I was at that age where I wanted to like just show how smart I was to the adults, so I read them cover to cover, and every day at dinner just spitting mad facts about the galaxies,
quasars and shit, bro.
Like, did you know we could fit this amount of Earths into the sun? Like Jerry Maguire. Let's tie it back into sports. Like Jerry Maguire when he's sitting in the back seat. Did you know the human head weighs 8 pounds?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was insufferable at that age. You can ask my brother, and this is when he was mad into wrestling. So yeah, I
will say this though: you did name 2 members of the NWO. Did you know that? Did you know you did that?
I did not, because all I know about NWO is that that's what they rioted against in Seattle.
New World Order. So Macho Man Randy Savage and Hollywood Hogan were members of the NWO. And
I was thinking NWTO. That's embarrassing. Okay.
No, it's okay. No one has to know. No one has.
Now she leaves.
So Josh, I suppose my question for you, we've got about a minute left for you to give me your answer. In a battle royale, right? We've got 6 members of the NWO and 6 members of Generation X, right? Who wins?
Okay, if I'm going and I'm, I'm not going to even set it up. NWO wins. But Vince McMahon would make Generation X win. I never was a big fan of DX.
Fair.
Really?
All the suck at
X-Pac was my dude.
X-Pac. Well, I liked X-Pac. I liked X-Pac when he was 1, 2, 3 Kid, and I liked Shawn Michaels when he was
1, 2, 3
Shawn
Kid.
Michaels. I liked
the Heartbreak Kid.
I liked everyone before they joined DX. Even Hunter Hearst Helmsley was cooler, I think, for my opinion. However, but if we're talking about big names like that, I put 4 Horsemen over both parties.
You're insane.
4 Horsemen.
Insane.
4 Horsemen.
Arn Anderson out there with his walker, right? Chris Benoit. Well, let's not talk about that.
Never mind everything I said. What do you think? You go DX?
So I think actually NWO wins. I think they had the better wrestlers on their squad. Now, Razor Ramon, you had Kevin Nash, right? Or Big Daddy Diesel, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, Buff Bagwell. Remember that dude, the eternal heel?
Yeah.
So I do think you're right. NWO wins. But I would really love to see DX go out there. And Triple H, that was his star turn, right? Was joining DX. Everyone hated Triple H. He was like a huge heel.
Yeah, he got a lot of popularity from that. Yeah,
and everybody actually reputes that Billy Gunn is one of the best wrestlers in wrestling. He's actually a wrestling trainer, right? Like, he's actually one of the best performers, one of the people that trains. He's a mentor to a lot of young folks. But, X-Pac would get tossed around. Yeah. I think he was X-Pac a member of the NWO as 6, by the way? I think X-Pac was in both, because I think the 1, 2, 3 kid became 6 in the NWO and then went to WWE and became X-Pac. So that's kind of wild that he was in both. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3 kid to 6 to X-Pac. Anyway, I would love to keep getting into this. I agree with you, sadly, Josh. I thought we might have a debate. I wish there was more love for DX. We need to have you on for another obscure episode where we talk about the Ravens flock and Diamond Dallas Page and all those old rivalries that used to go on. What was the Ministry with The Undertaker, right? And I need to find a way for Chelsea not to check out or just completely disappear when she accidentally says the wrong acronym.
So we need to just make Chelsea watch an old WrestleMania on YouTube or something. Like WrestleMania 6 or whatever.
Pageantry.
Yeah, that'd be good.
You love college football. You would love the pageantry of wrestling.
Figure out how to live stream that.
Does Periscope still exist?
No, but Twitch does.
It has Twitch. I think Elon Musk got mad at Twitter Live or Twitter Spaces because someone made fun of him on it, so he deleted the whole platform. Anyway, we appreciate. He's going to delete my Twitter account now. We appreciate all the fans. Thank you so much. We were all over the place today, but it was a blast. That's what Being Obscure is all about. From money to wrestling. Maybe we combine the two and say it's money and wrestling. We are here for you. You can reach us at TheSadFan12 on Twitter. You can reach us at TheSadFancast. You can reach Josh at Gorp Show on Twitter and Instagram. Go ahead, Chelsea.
I was also just going to add, if anyone has any obscure Ocho-style sports they want us to cover, let us know. We will do it, especially in the off-season when it gets a little slow. Get all over it.
Throw them to us. You can actually comment on all the videos at the Sad Fan Podcast Network on YouTube. Thanks, everybody, so much. I really hope you enjoyed the show. We will see you next week.
Ather Stone ball game.